My beloved child, there are moments when I stand right beside you, simply waiting for you to lift your eyes, yet your heart is absorbed in other calls. Do not think that I will always wait without end. There are rhythms of time that open only once and then close quietly. If you carelessly walk past them, many things in your life may turn in a direction you yourself never expected. I only hope you can return before the silence between us becomes a distance that is hard to cross. When I choose to be silent, it is not abandonment, but a reminder for you to look again at where your heart is truly directed. Today, if you hear His voice, do not harden your heart. These words are not meant to make you afraid, but to remind you that there are sounds from heaven that only resound while your soul is still willing to open. Because sometimes, just a small delay is enough for you to realize that life has changed its color, while my voice has been drowned beneath all the things you cling to. Your spiritual life does not go out just because I fall silent. It only grows dim when you no longer turn your gaze toward me. On those mornings when you open your eyes and have no idea where the day will take you, I am still quietly leaving small traces, a kind look, an unexpected conversation, a moment that makes you pause for just a bit. When you see everything as nothing more than random steps without direction, your heart gradually loses the capacity to recognize the gentle presence I am sending into your path. Many times, it is your own inattentiveness that lets the signals I sow slip away in the hurried flow of life. You grow so accustomed to a rushed pace that even when I touch you very softly, you assume it is mere coincidence. And when the subtlety within your soul is covered with dust, you easily step into turns that seem ordinary yet make your heart heavier instead of brighter. That is why I want you to realize there are misalignments that are not noisy, yet they have enough power to throw your soul off course. They do not arrive like thunder, but come through small habits that slowly lead you away from me without your noticing. When your heart is no longer sensitive, even the words I speak are easily blended into the countless other sounds of life. And from there, 5 subtle distortions begin to form, things that allow my voice to go on sounding and yet no longer truly reach you. There is something I quietly see in you. You only come to me when the sky over your life is heavy with clouds. On peaceful days, you walk as though everything runs on its own, and I become the last stop when you are exhausted. In such moments, I am more like an emergency station than a traveling companion you invite from the early morning. I do not wish the love between us to be remembered only when the storm rises. Then, in that hurried stream of life, I send you many encounters and small events so that you may know I am still walking with you. But when your heart treats all of them as mere chance, you close the very door through which I long to enter. Your silence before the signs I give is precisely what makes your soul grow dull, unable to recognize where my gentle guidance from heaven is at work. And then you hand your heart over to the more gripping noises, messages, social networks, those pampered emotions. My voice, so very tender, is pushed to the very back, not because you deliberately choose it so, but because habit carries you away. You do not realize that when you keep missing my gentle reminders, there will come a time when I still call, yet your heart is no longer refined enough to discern my tone amid 1,000 other sounds. My child, I see something very familiar along your journey. You only run to me when every other door has closed. Like a traveler who seeks a torch only when night has fully fallen, you treat me as a last refuge whenever your heart hits bottom. This does not make me reproach you, but it slowly robs your heart of the sensitivity I so wish you to keep. I once said, "Seek the Lord while he may be found," is 55:6, because my grace desires to reach you at daybreak, not only at dusk. When you treat me as a backup plan, you lose the joy of walking with me, step by step, not just when the storm knocks on your door. And this unconscious distance makes your soul more weary, even while you strive outwardly to appear strong. I want you to know, I do not seek you in order to rebuke you. I seek you because you are always my tender delight. Perhaps life has pushed you into many collisions, and you have begun to believe that everything happens merely by chance, so you forget that I am still quietly arranging every little detail. When I send you a kind person, an incident that makes you stop, or an unexpected joy, you often think it is nothing more than coincidence and let my inner whisper pass you by. This is where your second misalignment lies. You fail to recognize the register I am using to call you through each event. And the third misalignment comes soon after, when you allow the noise of life, praise and criticism, social media, the hurried pace to drown out my voice and push me to the very bottom of your priorities. You think you are strong, but in truth, you are surrendering your heart to forces that pull and tug at it, while I, the one who is ever so gentle, am set aside. I am gentle and humble of heart, Mood 11:29. So if you are flooded with noise, you will miss the gaze I am placing upon you hour by hour. In the deepest place of your heart, there are two habits that make me ache a little whenever I see them. The fourth misalignment: you imagine you must shoulder everything alone, as though I only show up when all other options have failed, which makes your burden heavier and our relationship more faded. The fifth misalignment: you have grown accustomed to ignoring the soft signals I send, and gradually you become unable to recognize my voice even when I call you very quietly. You do not realize that by overlooking my gentle nudges again and again, your soul becomes slower to respond, like soil that has dried out and can no longer absorb water. I do not want you to live in such numbness. I want you to feel my love, even when I touch you, only lightly. I will remove from you your heart of stone and give you a heart of flesh. As 36-26. I speak these words to you, so that you may know I can soften what has long grown hard. My child, I do not call you back with shouts or threats. I call you with the love of a father who never tires. You do not need to wait until you are weak to come to me. I want to walk with you also through the stretches of calm. You do not need to be perfect before you dare seek me. You only need to open your heart a little, and I will take care of the rest. Let each of your days hold a small space for me, a word of thanks, a glance lifted upward, a sigh entrusted into my heart. As you practice giving me a place in little things, you will gradually see that I am also tending to each of your little things. Then you will realize that I am no longer your backup plan, but the one who walks beside you from morning until night. And there, your heart will grow soft again, bright again, full again of the spiritual life you once thought you had lost long ago. As you begin to return to me like this, you will notice within yourself hidden corners you have long avoided, old wounds you have not yet dared to uncover. They quietly govern how you love, how you trust, and how you see others, to the point that even when I offer you a gift, you fear it may be something that will steal your peace. I see that confusion inside you, and I know it does not come from me, but from what you have been through. My love can heal, but you need to allow me to step into the very place you are trying to keep locked. For only when your heart is healed will you be able to recognize what grace I send and what things are taking away the peace that truly belongs to you. My beloved, in the hidden corners of your heart, I see wounds that have slept so long you believe you have moved past them. Yet whenever love comes close, the old pain stirs like a sound in the night, making you startle and retreat to what feels safe. You think that this guardedness proves your maturity, but in reality it makes your heart close itself to what I long to give. I once counseled, perfect love casts out fear, 1 John 4:18. Because love that comes from me never makes you tremble like the things that once broke you. I understand you are trying to protect yourself, but every layer of defense you build also unintentionally keeps me from touching the wound you thought was healed. I do not want to see you endlessly strong in that way. I want you to be able to lean on me like the little child you once were. There are moments when opening your heart feels like stepping into a dark room without a guiding light, so you choose to shut down your feelings entirely to avoid being hurt. By doing so, you fall into a misalignment you do not notice. You no longer allow love to move gently, but turn it into a problem to be controlled. When old wounds become the measure for every new thing, you lose the ability to recognize that I am placing before you an opportunity to be healed. Excessive self-protection makes your heart like parched ground, on which even my rain struggles to sink in. And in that tight closure, you do not recognize the signals I send through a gentle person, a sudden encounter, or a quiet, sincere concern. I have promised, I heal the broken-hearted, Ps. 147:3. But for me to heal you, you must let me touch the part you are trying hardest to hide. I know there is a very real fear in you, that if you love someone again, the ending will be no different from what once brought you to your knees. So you look at a new person with the eyes shaped by the old, and before you can give them a chance, you have already withdrawn into silent caution. This misalignment does not make you bad. It only makes your heart too tired to distinguish who is sent by me and who is only passing through to teach you a lesson before moving on. When you see through your wounds, you cannot see by the light. That is why gentle souls may pass through your life without being able to remain. Caution is good, but when it becomes a wall, you will lose the gifts I send to help you grow in peace. I have said, people look at the outward appearance, but I look at the heart. 1 Esm 16:7. If you, too, could see with such eyes, you would no longer confuse grace with fear. My child, I am not asking you to leave your pain behind by your own strength. I only ask you to give me the part of you that trembles the most. You do not need to be flawless before you dare to love, and you do not need to appear strong before you dare to speak with me. Just one whispered breath, Lord, I am afraid, is enough for me to come in and bind the wound you have carried for so many years. When you give me a small space in your heart, I will make that small space widen, brighten, and become a place where love can bloom again. You will come to know that love is no longer a threat to you, but a gift I want you to enjoy in complete peace. Let me walk with you, not to replace anyone, but to heal what keeps you from welcoming those I send into your life. And you will see, when your heart has softened, that some things you once called love were in fact only clinging, born of the fear of being alone. You will begin to understand that not every emotion is a sign from me, and not everything that makes your heart flutter brings you closer to peace. From this healing, you will learn to discern which affections carry my breath and which merely wear sweetness while draining your soul. I want to lead you into this discernment, so that you may recognize that the love I bless is always light, always pure, and always helps you grow. When you see with such clarity, you will know how to turn away from what burns your peace to ashes and hold fast to what truly lifts and steadies your heart. My beloved child, as your heart slowly learns to open again, I see within you another truth that is just as important for you to recognize. Not every feeling that appears in your life is a blessing sent from heaven. There are things that at first glance seem very sweet, yet deep inside they throw you into turmoil, keep you awake at night, leave you restless, like a flame that burns bright at the beginning only to leave behind ashes. I love you enough to want you to discern which love I bless, and which attachment is quietly eroding the peace I have planted in you. I have said, the fruit of the Spirit is peace, Gal 5:22, and any affection that does not lead you into that peace is only a false light that confuses your heart. I know you long to be loved, and I also know there is no sin in that. I only desire that you learn to recognize what truly comes from me in the midst of many things that seem good. I see the times you try to hold on to someone simply because you are afraid of emptiness, even though deep down you know that this is draining your own inner light. Attachment often appears intense and passionate, but what follows are heavy, anxious days when you constantly adjust yourself bit by bit just so the other person will not leave. The love that I bless is different. It does not demand that you trade away your dignity. It does not force you to perform a role just to stay. And it never squeezes your heart into someone else's mold just so you will fit them. It makes you lighter, not heavier. It helps you grow, not shrink back. When a relationship forces you to lower yourself in order to keep it, then you already know it is not from me, even if on the outside it shines brilliantly. There are days when you ask yourself, what do I still deserve? And that is precisely when I want you to stop and look at the truth. You were created in my image, Gen 1:27, so the love meant for you can never be the kind that breaks you, makes you doubt yourself, or keeps you living in constant fear of loss. When a confession of love makes you forget your own worth, you have fallen into an emotion that does not come from me, but from an inner emptiness, desperate to be filled. True love always awakens in you the sense that you are a treasure, not a substitute, that you are a joy, not a burden. I desire that you look at yourself before you look at anyone else, because when you remember your value, you will gently recognize which feelings lead you to freedom and which ones lead you into chains. I see your smile whenever you believe you are loving the right person, but I also see the trembling in your eyes when your peace starts to be replaced by suspicion, when worry shows up more often than joy. My child, I never want love to become something that makes you live in inner conflict. I want it to be a place where your soul is supported and enlightened. If, as each day passes, you feel yourself drifting farther away from me, then no matter how beautiful that relationship may seem, it still does not belong to you. For everything that comes from me leads you into the light. It never drags you into the half-shadow of insecurity. Let me help you discern by the gentle light of the Spirit, not by flickering emotions that rush in and then immediately change direction. And when you have learned to recognize which feelings nourish your peace and which ones erode it, you will see that this world holds many things that look good but do not lead you into true life. There are choices that sparkle but make your soul feel cramped, and there are humble paths that quietly lead you into deep growth. I will teach you another kind of wisdom, the wisdom that knows how to ask, is this nourishing my soul or only stroking my ego? Through that question, you will know. Longer be dazzled by what merely glitters, but will seek what has roots, depth, and meaning, the very things I desire to give you. And when you walk into that light, I will lead you into an even more important journey, learning to discern among countless things that seem good, but are not what I want for you. My child, when you have learned to guard your peace in love, I see a new journey beginning to unfold before you, a path where every step requires a certain delicacy of soul. The world lays before you countless beautiful options, each one appearing to promise happiness, success, and brilliance. Yet not everything that shines is light from heaven. There are glows that cause your heart to grow dimmer instead of clearer. I know that at times you choose what feels comfortable because it seems to hurt you less, but comfort is not always the sign of what is truly good. Try to discern what is pleasing to the Lord, F. 5:10, that is the key that keeps you from being deceived by things that are beautiful on the surface yet lack the depth of grace. There are moments when you feel as though you are standing before two identical doors, unsure which one is the path I have prepared. The world often tells you to choose shortcuts, to pick whatever is fastest, whatever makes you feel okay right away. But I invite you instead to ask, does this nourish my soul, or does it only soothe my ego for a moment? When you dare to ask that question, you begin to see clearly those things that seemed good but quietly wear down your heart. I do not want you to wander into choices made only to satisfy instinct while sacrificing your growth in me. Remember, peace is not found only in what is easy, but in what you dare to choose, because it leads you into purity of heart. There are days when I see you weary because what you hope for does not come. Your dreams keep being delayed, and doors you long to see open quietly close instead. You think I am taking things away from you, but my child, sometimes I am only redirecting you from a road where sharp stones await you out of sight. I have often used slowdowns, full stops, and even failures to protect you from what could fracture your soul. You do not know it, but I know that every single thing I allow to happen carries a gentle purpose behind it. My thoughts are not your thoughts, is 55-8. Trust that every delay is a form of shelter I am placing around you in full love, and when pain comes, I want you to learn to look at it with a mature gaze. Do not only ask, why me, but dare to whisper, what is this teaching me? You will discover that suffering is not always a punishment. Sometimes it is a small lamp lighting the path so you can see where you truly stand in your spiritual journey. A humble heart will find a lesson in disappointment, while a hardened heart sees only injustice. I want you to choose the gaze of one who is growing in the light, so that each event does not crush you, but makes you clearer, deeper, and more closely united to me. When you look at everything through the light of discernment, you will know when to move slowly, when to move quickly, and when to stop as soon as I gently place my hand on your shoulder. Then, when discernment has become the natural breath of your soul, you will taste something precious, that living among many dazzling things does not guarantee you will feel fulfilled, and reaching success does not automatically silence the emptiness inside. There are people standing on the heights of the world who are so hollow that a single sigh can make them tremble. I do not want you to be one of them. I want your life to be in real conversation with me, so that every moment, whether as small as a breath or as large as a life-changing decision, carries the depth of light and love. From here you will understand why a heart that does not speak with God slowly becomes desolate, no matter how radiant it looks from the outside. My child, there are times when I watch you walking amid the bright things of this life, and still I see within you a deep silence that no one else can touch. You may be busy, successful, admired by many, and yet there is a territory in your soul that only I can see, a dry land you try to hide with a smile and grand plans. I do not blame you. Amidst all the noise of the world, it is very easy for your soul to be buried beneath work, ambition, relationships, or well-intentioned plans. But one does not live by bread alone, Met 4-4. Your soul needs my breath if it is to truly live, and not merely exist among things that glitter. When your heart has been far from me for too long, you begin to feel tired without knowing why, empty without knowing what is missing. I know there are days when you try to fill the emptiness with new activities, new pleasures, new goals, as if walking faster could somehow carry you past the hollowness inside. But the more you run, the more lost you feel. It is not that the world lacks joys, but that any joy without my presence can only touch the surface, never the core of your soul. You may keep up every conversation with others, but if there is no conversation with me, your heart will soon grow weary from having to carry itself alone. I do not want you to be strong to the point of exhaustion. I want you to be strong with peace, not with strained effort. And that peace only comes when you allow me to enter every breath you take. There are moments in the day that you do not put into words, and yet I still hear the whisper of your heart. When you are happy, I want you to tell me. When you are sad, I want you to lean on me. When you are confused, I want you to ask me before you ask the whole world. You tend to think prayer must be long, formal rituals, but in truth, prayer is simply turning your heart toward me, even if only for a second. When you give me your first glance, I will reset the inner compass in you so you know where the direction of light lies. I am near to the broken-hearted. 34-19. I am not far away. It is only that you turn back to me so rarely that you imagine I am silent. Yet with just one small word from you, I will answer with all the tenderness of a father who has waited for you through countless days. And when you grow accustomed to bringing me into every event, your joys, your sorrows, your crossroads, your failures, even the things you do not dare tell anyone, you will realize that life is no longer a series of meaningless passing days. It becomes a journey with a guide, rich with purpose, filled with a voice from heaven that constantly enlightens you. You will see that even small things, a kind word, a misstep, a morning cup of coffee, each carries a story through which I long to speak with you. I do not want your life to be a stage on which you perform, but a road on which you encounter me, little by little, in everything you touch. A heart that knows how to speak with me will no longer be desolate. It becomes a green garden where peace grows in a way nothing can take away. When you allow me to be present in every moment like this, you will understand why dazzling things no longer have the power to intoxicate you. A heart that belongs to God no longer needs false light to feel valuable. You will know how to choose what is simple yet enduring, how to keep relationships that lift your soul, and how to release what weighs you down, no matter how appealing it appears. And from here, the journey you walk will be full of true maturity, because it no longer depends on shifting feelings but on my quiet, steadfast guidance. You will see, when a soul knows how to converse with God, life is no longer an empty echo. It becomes a melody with depth, direction, and a peace that is truly real. Do not be unsettled by the gentle shifts taking place around you, for it is I who am touching your life in very hidden ways that you sometimes do not yet know how to name. There are changes that at first glance seem random, encounters that appear to be mere coincidence, words that pass by and dissolve into the air. Yet I am weaving all of them into a story that has order, meaning, and a path. You see only scattered fragments, while I behold the whole picture. You hear only single notes, while I am listening to the full melody that is being formed from every tone you pass through. The person who is stepping into your life at this moment is not a figure who appears just for appearance's sake and then disappears without meaning. They are an important stroke on the canvas I have patiently been painting of your life. Through them, I want to connect the parts you thought were closed with the parts you have never explored, to link the you of yesterday with the person who is slowly maturing today, so that you may realize you are not standing still but are being led into deeper places within your own self. You have already gone through no small number of seasons of dryness, no few long nights when you thought you were the only one lying awake, and so you have every right to ask why it has to be now, why it has to be this person, why all these feelings surge so strongly after the days when you had learned to be calm. I do not reproach you for these questions, for they show that you are living honestly with your own heart. But I want you to know that everything under heaven has its appointed time, and so does your heart. There were stages when I did not allow anyone to step deeply into your inner world, not because I had forgotten you, but because I knew that if someone had touched you then, you would only have repeated the old patterns. Suspicion, confusion, running away, or clinging. Now it is different. Your heart has been shaped by rough stretches of road. It has grown accustomed to standing up again after you lose your footing, has tasted the flavor of waiting, has passed through emptiness that seemed to leave nothing holding you together. Those things have not turned you into stone. On the contrary, they have made you more profound, more tender, more able to distinguish what is just a fleeting emotion and what is the true touch of grace. Do you remember the days when you felt as if you had completely lost your bearings and could only ask me, "Why is everything so silent?" It was precisely in those silences that I patiently carried out the work your eyes could not see, calming the waves within you, loosening each knot that you had unknowingly tied around yourself, tending to the layers of cracks that had built up over many years. I allowed you to experience absence, not to abandon you, but so that you might understand that no one and nothing can fill the place that belongs to me in your soul. When you were willing to pass through that desert, you began to learn how to stand firm without clinging to any human image, how to lean on me before leaning on another person. That is why, when I let someone approach you at this time, they are no longer a way out from loneliness, but an opportunity for you to behold what I have already been doing in your life. They do not come to replace me. They come so that together with me, they may help you see more clearly the beauty of your soul after it has been refined. This person is a mirror I place before you so that you may look back at yourself, not a shell for you to hide in from what has not yet been healed. Through the way your heart is moved, the way you open or withdraw, the way you rejoice at being heard and yet fear being hurt, you will recognize the parts within you that are still trembling. Do not rush to blame your heart for being afraid, and do not condemn yourself for sometimes wanting to pull back. Instead, bring all these inner movements to me, so that together we may read them calmly. I want you to learn to look at your feelings as though gazing into a clear mirror. There, you can see where you are, how you are no longer the same as before, and what in you still needs my touch. Love that is blessed by me always leads you into greater truthfulness with yourself and with me. It does not turn you into someone else, but helps you become a clearer, truer expression of the soul I created. You may realize that in the past, whenever you loved, you tended to cling to the other person as if they were your only support, so that if they wavered even a little, your whole inner world collapsed. Now I want you to experience something new. You can offer affection, cherish deeply, and hold someone in high esteem, while still keeping your roots anchored in me. When your roots are firmly planted in me, you no longer love out of fear of losing, but love in freedom. You no longer give as one terrified of abandonment, but as someone who knows they are always upheld. This person is not your savior. They are a companion I send, so that you may relearn how to trust, to share, to be truly present without losing yourself. The more you learn to love without being dependent, the more you will understand what it means to live a love wrapped in my blessing. I also want you to look with courage at this truth. Not everyone who appears at the right time, stirs your heart, and helps you understand yourself more deeply, is someone who will necessarily remain with you for life. Some people are sent only for a short stretch of the road to awaken within you something that had fallen asleep, to open a new door in your heart, and then they continue on their own journey. This does not make their presence any less meaningful. On the contrary, it is precisely their temporary role that highlights them as a marker in your life. When you understand that every encounter is more about mutual giving than possession, you will know how to cherish deeply and still be ready to let go when I invite you to. I never take anything from you without offering in return a deeper, steadier freedom. If you feel within yourself both joy and anxiety, hope and caution, this is natural for a heart that is learning to love again after being wounded. I do not require you to step into this relationship with absolute confidence. I only ask that you do not let fear be the only voice that speaks. You can speak to me whenever you feel confused about your own feelings, about the other's reactions, about the desires you do not dare to name. I want to be present in every conversation, every message, every meeting you have with this person, not to control you, but to protect the freedom and purity within you. Each time you pause for a moment and ask me, Lord, is this drawing me closer to you or farther from you? You open up a space for me to guide you amid paths you have not yet learned to walk. Do not think that to be worthy of a good and holy love you must be a heart without scars. I do not wait for a flawless heart before I begin to bless. I make the heart whole precisely through the process of loving and being loved in the light of truth. The marks on your soul are witnesses to the stretches of road you have faithfully walked with me, not proof of weakness. What matters is not that you have never fallen, but where you fall now, with whom you choose to rise, and how you allow me to be present in each step you take. If you let me stand in the first place, you will no longer fear the other's changes, because you know that your deepest foundation does not lie in passing emotions, but in my unchanging love. Then, even if one day this story must change form, your heart will not shatter as before. Instead, it will widen so that you may love more deeply and more maturely. Consider this season as a sacred classroom in which I am the teacher, and this person is part of a living syllabus. I do not teach you only through words on a page. I teach through heartbeats, trembling fingers, moments when you smile for no apparent reason, and evenings when you wrestle alone with your thoughts. Every feeling has something for you to learn. Every joy carries a seed to be sown. Every fear has roots that I long to gently untangle with you. The more honestly you speak to me about your love life, the less you will be swept away by it like a wave. Instead, you will learn how to stand on the shore, observe, discern, and decide whether to step into the water, and if you do, how far to go. When love is placed in my hands, it is no longer a game of emotions, but a path by which you grow within my heart. Therefore, instead of anxiously wondering, will this person stay with me forever? I invite you to change the question to, through this person, what are you trying to teach me, Lord? And how are you drawing me closer to true love? The way you love today will shape what you are able to give tomorrow, and I want to ensure that each step you take in matters of the heart brings you nearer to your deepest calling. To become like Jesus in the way you love, in the way you give yourself, in the way you remain faithful. If you dare to let me walk with you in every small detail, you will discover that no event is superfluous and no person appears in your life without meaning. And one day, when you look back, you will understand why I allowed this person to step in at the very moment you thought you no longer needed a new love. Finally, remember this. I do not merely bring someone into your life and then withdraw, leaving you to manage on your own. I remain here, between you and that person, quietly supporting you both, even when you are not aware of it. If you keep the habit of returning to me, telling me every small detail of this story, I will give you the clarity to recognize when to move forward, when to pause, which words should be spoken, and which things should be kept in silence and prayer. I do not promise that there will be no trials, but I assure you that if you continue to converse with me, not a single moment of this journey will be wasted. All will become material, for me to beautify your heart, deepen your capacity to love, and make my imprint on your life ever clearer. Then one day, you will smile as you remember and whisper to me, "Thank you, Lord, for using love itself to teach me how to love in your way, my beloved child." As you begin to step into new relationships, as your heart opens its doors to let someone draw near, I want you never to forget that your soul has an unchanging worth that no one in this world is allowed to dim. I do not want you to lose yourself just because the presence of someone makes your heart tremble. Feelings are a gift I have placed within you, but that gift must never be used to replace your very being or make you forget the deepest and most precious part of you, the holiness I breathed into each of your heartbeats. Many times I have watched you give your heart too widely, too hastily, to the point that you forgot to keep a place for yourself, to stand firm. In that place you need roots. You need the warmth I give, so that whether the other person stays or goes, you can still stand upright by the gentle strength I have sown in you. You are not a shadow chasing someone else's light. You are a light I myself have kindled, a light that does not depend on anyone, a light that does not need anyone's permission in order to shine. And dear child, when you meet someone who stirs your heart, I hope you will not hastily make them the center of your universe. Do not place your entire sky upon another person's shoulders, for no one in this world can bear the full weight of your soul except me. Their presence may bring warmth, joy, laughter, and beautiful feelings that color your life anew, but they must never become the only air you breathe or the only source on which your life depends. You need to distinguish between loving and depending, between being attached and losing yourself. Someone may enter your life like a breeze that cools your heart, but you must remain the solid ground that cannot be blown away by their sudden changes. You may love sincerely, but do not let that feeling make you forget that I am the deepest source of your peace, the one who keeps your soul in balance, even amid the strongest tremors. If this person brings laughter, receive it with gratitude. If they bring storms, step back a little and listen to my whisper. You do not have to sacrifice your peace just to hold on to someone. Sometimes that stepping back does not mean leaving them. It means guarding the purity within you, that precious treasure I placed there from the moment you were formed. You must also understand that love is not the art of deforming yourself to fit someone else. I have shaped you in a unique way, with a beauty that no one but you can carry. Do not bend yourself into another version just to make someone stay. When you twist who you are in order to fit inside someone's heart, you lose the voice of your own soul, and gradually you can no longer recognize who you are. I do not want you to become a shadow of another. I want you to live true to what I have bestowed on you: strength, gentleness, purity, and a dignity that must never be put up for sale in exchange for the feeling of being loved. If someone is truly worthy, they will recognize your value without asking you to sacrifice what is most sacred in you. If they do not see that value, you have no reason to shrink your heart to fit their shallowness. A mature love will make you more steadfast, not more shaken. It will raise you up, not make you smaller. I have placed within you the voice of the Spirit so that you may know what nourishes you and what is draining you. Trust that voice, for it is the light that leads you toward what is good. I also want to speak to you about the limits of compassion. You have a tender heart, I know. You always want to heal someone who is wounded, to become the place they lean on, to carry part of their burden for them, but you must remember that you are not the Savior. You cannot mend wounds they refuse to touch, nor can you fix a person's heart if they cling to their pain as though it were part of their identity. There are people who do not want to be healed. They only want someone to endure their storm in their place. And I do not want you to become a sacrifice in someone else's inner battle. You may love them, but you are not allowed to lose yourself for them. Love is an invitation, not a weight. It upholds. It does not drag down. It enlightens. It does not make you fade. If their presence demands that you trade away the peace I have placed in your heart, you need to know that walking away is not failure, but a form of spiritual maturity. I want your heart to be strong enough to love and wise enough to leave when it must. My child, never confuse patience with self-destruction. Patience is when you grow with someone, build together, and heal together through dialogue and honesty. Self-destruction is when you cling to someone even as they trample your dignity without ever looking back. I do not want your heart to become a battlefield of a relationship in which you are the only one trying. Let love flow like a stream, gentle, clear, nourishing, and able to stop when it meets a great rock in order to protect itself. If someone truly wants to journey with you, they will slow their steps so that stream does not evaporate. If they do not know how to walk beside you, you are not the one at fault. Love demands freedom, and that freedom includes your right to choose peace over chaos, growth over grasping, truth over illusion. You are my child, and I want your heart to be guarded by the very light I have placed within you. Do not hand over the key of your soul to someone who has not yet learned how to care for their own. Do not see leaving as a lack of love. Sometimes it is the most noble way to love yourself. When you stand firm in who you are, I will lead you into relationships that make you shine instead of wearing you out. I want every step you take in love to be one. I walk with you. Let me be the breath that keeps you courageous, the lamp that keeps you discerning, the shoulder you can lean on when you feel unsteady. Human love may change its colors, but the love I have for you never fades. It is that love which will keep you from losing your way, from losing your true self, and it will never leave your heart abandoned in places that are unworthy of you. My beloved child, you can love without having to trade yourself away, and I want to remind you of that in a way that touches deeply, so that each word becomes a shaft of light slipping into the room you have kept silent for so long. There will come a day gentle as a passing breath when you feel something shift inside you, not loud, not dazzling, but so clear that it makes you pause in the rush of life. It may be nothing more than the sense that the world around you suddenly skips a beat, or that one night you lie down and your heart hums with a sound tilted between peace and awakening. Do not assume it is just a fleeting feeling. Such delicate stirrings are often my whispers sent into the deepest place of your soul, and when I touch you, you will not mistake it as if a cool current runs along your spine, or an invisible hand rests softly on your shoulder, or a gentle gaze you cannot see yet somehow feel watching over you. Do not ignore these things, for they are the first steps of a new journey, one I have long prepared, waiting only for your heart to open and enter. I know you have missed many of the signs I sent, not because you are uncaring, but because you are tired, distracted, convinced you must manage everything and forgetting that some things only need to be handed over to me. You move through a long day, hearing hundreds of words, meeting dozens of eyes, exposed to countless fragments of information, so the signals from me sometimes sink beneath the noise of life. But, my child, I never send you anything too complicated or hard to grasp. I use the smallest things to reach you, because I know your soul is learning to return to simplicity. A song suddenly plays at the exact moment you are wavering. A seemingly casual phrase cuts straight into the place you are hiding, or a number keeps repeating itself until you frown and wonder what lies ahead. These small things, so easy to dismiss as coincidence, carry an invisible weight. Each detail is a thread, and I am weaving a map to lead you toward the truth you have grown weary of searching for all these years. You have thought that I speak only through great events, vivid dreams, obvious miracles, thunderous calls. But no, I do not need to frighten you. I need your heart to become delicate and attentive. I speak through gentle touches, through small things that only those who are willing to sit down, take a deep breath, and listen with their whole soul can perceive. I speak through the light slipping in under the door as you wake in the morning, through the tear you cannot explain, through a strange intuition that makes you stop midway and reflect on something you had never noticed before. This is how I open doors, not with a crash, but with the patience of a father who knows you will hear at the right time. I do not force you to sense me, but I will always seek ways to reach you, so that you know you never have to walk alone, no matter how lost you may feel. And then you will notice, in a passing moment of the day, something that makes you linger a little longer. You hear someone say a sentence, and your heart aches softly, not from sorrow, but because the truth beneath it reveals a part of yourself you once tried to bury. You see a couple walk by, and your heart trembles slightly, as if something inside you is slowly beginning to open. You sense that a certain person has appeared in your life not to confuse you, but to make you more awake, to help you look honestly into your own heart. That is my signal. I let you meet the right person at the right time, hear the right words on the right day, and feel the right emotion at the precise moment you are ready to receive it. Everything is arranged gently, not to test you, but to draw you closer to what I want you to see, a truth that has stood here for a long time, waiting only for you to be still enough to recognize it. My child, I know there are moments when these signals feel too vague, and you wonder whether you are just imagining things, but rest assured your heart always knows what is real. If something brings you peace, deepens you, and makes you a kinder, brighter version of yourself, then it surely does not come from darkness. When I send signs, I never send confusion. I send clarity wrapped in simplicity. When something arises from your ego or your fear, it will make you hurried, unsettled, impatient, or anxious. Look into your heart after each signal, and you will know where you are being led. A peaceful heart is life to the body. I place those words in Scripture so you would know that peace is not merely a goal, it is a compass. You will learn that nothing is accidental in the life of someone who walks with me. A meeting that seems random carries a reminder you have long avoided. A gentle sadness that keeps returning speaks of how far you have strayed from yourself. A strange dream that wakes you in the night, heart racing yet eyes clearer than before, that is the signal for you to stop running away. An old memory surfacing suddenly while you are washing dishes or riding your motorbike, that is the door I open so that you may face it and be healed. I will use everything, sounds, memories, intuition, light, and even silence, to lead you to the place where you need to arrive. And, my child, do not doubt yourself when those signals start to come more frequently. That is when I am urging you into a new season of your spiritual life. You have learned how to love rightly, you have learned discernment, you have learned to recognize what nourishes your peace, and now I want your heart to rise to a higher frequency, one in which you not only live, but live with awareness, with purpose, with my presence in every breath. You will see life begin to open in a strange new way. The old things no longer allure you. What once terrified you now feels lighter. What you once called coincidence now bears the beauty of a message from heaven. You no longer wander in circles as before, because at last you have learned to look toward the guiding light instead of the noise that pulls you back. I want you to understand that my signs do not come simply to color your life, but to enlighten your heart. They do not come to make you dependent, but to help you become inwardly free in a mature and peaceful way. They do not come to throw you into panic, but to let you know that I am so near that a single light touch is enough to awaken your soul. And when you recognize this, you will see that the love I have for you is not only in the words I speak, but also in the things I shape around you, the people you meet, the places you pass through, the nameless emotions, the unexplainable moments. All of them are pieces I use to draw you closer to my heart. And if there is one thing I most want you to remember throughout this whole journey, it is this: you never have to walk alone. Even if you lose your way, grow weary, make mistakes, feel weak or naive, I am always right behind you. You only need to turn around to find me. I do not speak too loudly so as not to frighten you. I do not force you so as not to wound you. I simply send signals, small signs that only a heart learning to listen can recognize. And when you finally recognize them, you will know that life is not a random maze, but a path with light, with direction, with love, with grace, and above all, with me. My beloved child, let me speak to you with a longer breath, with a deeper current, so that your heart has enough space to fully feel what I am trying to pour into you. The words I am about to reveal are not only to comfort you, nor only to lift you up. They are like a breeze flinging open a door you have kept locked for too long because you were afraid the wind would make you cold. But child, if the wind never comes, how can the flame within you be fanned into fire? If the light is never seen, how can the world find its way along the dim stretches of the road? You have spent many years hiding the most beautiful part of yourself simply because you believed this world is too harsh, too hurried, too noisy to understand the delicacy you carry. Yet I tell you truly, the very things you try so hard to keep hidden are the medicine for souls who have been waiting for a voice, a light, a warmth like yours. Within you are shades and colors no one has yet seen in their fullness. Ideas that even you sometimes think are too big, too vague to dare bring into reality. But you do not know that this world is missing precisely the piece you are keeping tucked away. I have sown in you a flame no one else carries, a kind of radiance that warms hearts grown cold from disappointment, hurt, or the dryness of life. And that light is only waiting for an encounter, the right person, the right moment, the right circumstance to be kindled again. That encounter will not only be a spark that makes you remember what I placed in you from your very first days, it will also be a reminder that every pain you have walked through has never been meaningless. Every wound, every time you thought you were collapsing, all of it has been arranged so your heart might be softened, so you could understand more deeply the loneliness of human beings, so that the light in you might be compassionate without arrogance, strong without wounding anyone. You will recognize this the moment that person's gaze meets yours, not because they see your outer form, anyone can see that, but because they will recognize what you yourself have forgotten. They will see something that cannot be named in the language of this world, because it does not belong to this world. It is the radiance of your soul, where I planted a mysterious seed before you even knew how to speak. This light is not the glitter of material things, not the halo of talent, and even less something people can measure with eyes that rush through life. It is the warmth of life itself, a quiet kindness that does not need to boast, the very essence of hope that many have lost. I placed this light in you not so you would hide it away like a frightening secret, but so you would use it to open doors no one else has dared to touch. You are a candle I have lit in the long winter of this world, and that winter cannot grow warmer if you keep covering your own flame. It is time for you to step out of the shadow of fear, my child. It is time for you to stop placing yourself in the very last row just because you think you are not enough. I want you to understand that your hesitation is not always humility. Sometimes it is simply old pain wearing the cloak of caution. But now, I want you to take off that cloak so your heart can begin to beat in the way it was created to. Strong yet gentle, deep yet tender, steady yet still able to soften before what is beautiful. Light was not born to live in a sealed box, just as you were not born to shrink into silence. The gifts I have given you, your delicate sensitivity, your understanding, your kindness, your sharp intuition, your great dreams, they are not things you should hide as if they were faults. They are your calling. Soon you will find yourself standing at crossroads you once avoided. Every choice in this season will stir not only your reason, but also your patience, your faith, and your intuition. I know there are moments when you ask yourself, how do I know what is right? How can I be sure this is not another cruel trick? My child, it is precisely in those moments that I want you to listen to the voice within the voice I have placed in the deepest part of your soul. It is not impulsiveness, not a fleeting desire, but the peaceful tone of your own spirit, reminding you of the way home. Do not let the noise outside drown out that voice. The truth is, there will be people who do not understand you, people who think you are foolish, people who doubt you and even mock what you carry. But remember this, their opinions are not the cord that binds you and me together. That cord lies in a depth no one else can touch, where only you and I know the way. It is where you once held on to me in those nights when no one stood by you, where you once sat and wept without knowing whom to call on but me. It is where you have always found yourself again when this world made you lose your sense of direction. That cord is stronger than all rumors, stronger than all misunderstandings, stronger than every whispering voice out there. And when you remember that cord, you will know, my words weigh more than all the noise of humankind. I want you to stand firm, not because you have something to prove, but because you have come to know where you belong. You will not be able to avoid trials, but trials are not punishments. They are the measure by which you come to see how your heart is growing. I want you to understand that every mistake you once feared, every time you wanted to turn your back and run away, has been part of the training of your heart, so that now you can discern right from wrong with a sharper clarity. You are being invited into a new level of your mission, deeper, more refined, and requiring the maturity you have just learned. You did not come into this world merely to survive. You came to pass on to life the light I placed within you. And not everyone will understand this, but the one who is about to step into your life, the one I am bringing, will see what others could not see. That person is not your salvation, nor are they a place for you to deposit your entire existence. They are a mirror, a catalyst, a confirmation of what I sowed in you long ago, that you were made to shine. Their presence will draw out corners of your being that you had forgotten, will remind you of the strong, clear, purpose-filled version of yourself. I am not sending them to replace me. I am sending them so you will remember that the light in you is not imaginary. And as you begin to believe in that light, you will realize that your fear no longer holds the power it once did. You will find yourself standing straighter, breathing deeper, living more truthfully, and daring to step toward what you were created to do. My child, I want you to understand something. There is a reason you still exist after all you have endured. It is not because you were simply lucky, but because you have a part in a plan far greater than what your eyes can see. The trials that did not crush you are the marks that show you are strong enough to carry this light farther. I have seen you endure. I have seen you wait. I have seen you guard your heart in days of hardship no one else knew about. And now, you are about to enter a new chapter in which you no longer have to fold yourself away. You were not born to remain small. You were born to overflow. Let this coming encounter awaken that purpose. Let the light within you, after so many years covered by worry, dare for once to shine in its fullness. Let your soul live according to its true strength, and above all, let me lead you. For I know who you are. I know what you were formed to do. I know how deeply this world needs you. You need only one thing. Do not turn your back on the light I have placed within you. If you are willing, that light will lead you to places you yourself never dared to imagine. You are not lost on this journey. You are being prepared. I am still here, in every breath, in every choice, in every trembling beat of your heart. Go now, my child. The world is waiting for your light. The world needs what only you can bring, and I will be beside you until the day that purpose is fulfilled. My beloved child, let me tell you in another way, softer and deeper, a way for your heart not only to hear, but also to understand and to be held. Life never flows in straight lines like the ruled pages you are used to seeing. It curves like a river that knows how to change its course, like the dance of the wind carrying breaths you cannot predict, like a piece of music sometimes swelling, sometimes pausing in silence. Each soul that appears in your life steps in at a different bar of that song. Some come when the melody is blazing at its height, some arrive when the tune is quiet and low, and some only pass through in a brief measure and leave before you can understand the meaning of their presence. But child, do not let your heart drown in regret simply because one chapter has closed. Every person who crosses your path leaves you with a shard of mirror, helping you see what you could never have learned without them about compassion, about boundaries, about fragility, and also about the strength you never thought you had. I want you to hold this as a truth. Not everything beautiful is meant to last forever, and not everything that ends is a failure. Sometimes an ending is the beginning of a version of you that is deeper, clearer, and stronger. Keep that close to your heart, as you would keep a candle that warms an entire long stretch of road. When someone leaves your life, they do not only take away a bit of their presence, they also leave within you quiet changes that you will recognize on days when your heart looks back. The journeys that have passed, whether gentle or harsh, have helped you see yourself more clearly, what you truly need, what you truly deserve, what your heart still hides because it is afraid of being hurt. These experiences make you more tender toward the pain of others, more humble toward your own wounds, and they teach you to love with awareness rather than with the impatience of loneliness. You know, in each connection I quietly show you the endurance of your soul, an endurance you only recognize after you have walked through trial. It is not only those who stay long who matter. Sometimes the very ones who come and go are those who make your heart grow the most. And this, I want you to remember with all your gentle heart. There are people who appear only to awaken in you something precious. You had forgotten your own worth, your capacity to love, and the courage to keep walking even when your heart still carries cracks. But, my child, if someone is truly sent to stay, to become part of the flow of your life, you will recognize it not by a momentary intensity, but by the peace resting behind every moment. True love does not make you struggle to catch your breath. It makes you breathe easier. It does not make you run after it. It walks beside you like the soft warmth of the morning sun. It does not toss you about like a storm. It makes you glow like the last streak of light at dusk. A real connection will feel like coming home after a long journey. Everything in its place, natural, simple, without strain, without pretending, without fear at every step. You will feel a balance in the way that person shows up, not pressuring, not rushing, not making you shrink. You will feel seen, understood, touched as a soul of worth, not a temporary support. And you will know what is real when your joy no longer comes from fragile hopes, but from the safety their presence brings. True love, you know, does not grow through clinging, does not expand by fear of loss, does not stand firm on the ground of you belittling yourself just to keep the other at all costs. It grows like a tree whose roots sink deep into good soil, not loud yet steady, not impatient yet consistent, not showy yet full of life. A genuine bond will not leave you restless. It will help you mature. It will not make you feel lacking. It will help you feel enough. It will not make you question your own worth every night. It will make you feel lovable, worthy of respect, worthy of being received. You will laugh more not because that person constantly entertains you, but because you feel safe in their presence. That feeling is like when I hold you in your most fragile moments. No need for explanations, no need for many words, just presence, and peace comes on its own. And remember one thing, I always want you to engrave in your heart. A true connection will always lead you into clarity, not confusion. If you have to keep guessing what someone feels every single day, if you constantly have to silence your inner voice just to keep the peace, if you always have to twist yourself into another version of you so you can fit with them, then, my dear, that is not love. That is simply the fear of being abandoned, dressed up in sweet clothing. True love lets you know where you are going. It does not leave you wandering and adrift like someone lost in the fog. It makes you feel as if you are standing on solid ground, not on a thin sheet of ice that could melt at any moment. When a connection comes from me, you will recognize it by the gentleness it plants into your everyday life. You sleep more deeply, you breathe more evenly, you feel light inside even when you and that person are not together. My beloved child, life will keep sending you new faces, new journeys, new rhythms of the heart, but I long for you to remember that you are worthy of a love that allows you to be yourself, not a distorted version shaped by anxiety and scarcity. You are worthy of someone who looks at you the way I look at you every day, with tenderness, with pride, with compassion. And if someone cannot bring you the peace I have placed within your heart, I want you to trust that their leaving is not a loss, but a divine arrangement, so that you may keep the most precious thing of all, the wholeness of your own heart. Keep walking forward, not with coldness, but with clarity and gratitude. Grateful for those who left, because they taught you what is not aligned with your soul. Grateful for those who stayed, because they are gifts I have sent you. And grateful for yourself, because you have been brave enough to love, to hurt, to heal, and to love once more. As you continue on this journey, you will come to see that what truly belongs to you will never make you struggle to hold on, will never ask you to lose yourself, will never force you to keep running after it. Authentic love, even if it arrives late, always comes at the right time. It does not knock when you are not yet ready, and it does not pass you by when your heart has ripened enough to receive it. And when it comes, you will recognize it by one simple yet profound sign. You will feel peace in the very first moment. No noise, no possessiveness, no pressure. Only peace, the very peace I placed in your heart from the dawn of creation. A peace only the love that comes from me can awaken. My child, when you step into that place of stillness where your breath becomes light as mist, where the noise of the world no longer has the power to drag your heart away, you will discover something your soul has been trying to remind you of through the smallest of signals. That peace is never an echo from the outside, but a hidden stream that flows quietly from deep within. I do not want you to fear the silence, because it is there, in that very silence, that I am standing, waiting for you to come home in gentleness. Life may place 100 dazzling crossroads before you, but there is only one path that leads you back to yourself, the path that brings you back to my quiet voice. When your heart trembles before what is unclear, when you do not know which way to turn, when you are afraid that taking another step might cost you something precious, I want you to pause for a moment, not to run, not to tense up, but simply to listen to the heartbeat speaking within your chest. That rhythm is the gift I placed in you from the moment you were woven together in your mother's womb. That rhythm is the sign I send to remind you that nothing can ever separate you from me. Your breath is not only to keep your body alive, your breath is also the path by which your soul finds its way back to its sacred home. When you breathe in deeply and exhale slowly, you are opening a door you cannot see with your eyes, but can feel through the gentle warmth rising in your heart. I know you often look for clarity in other people's advice, in omens and chances, in signs outside of you, but the light that belongs to you does not live anywhere except in your own heart. In that deepest place, I have planted a drop of peace that no shock in life can ever dry up. You only need to step into silence for a little while, and you will hear again what I am whispering without sound. You belong to me. You are not abandoned. You are being guided. In that place, you do not need to pretend to be strong, nor do you have to hide your trembling or confusion. You can simply be yourself, small, fragile, yet infinitely precious, because I, myself, have breathed into you with the breath of love. There are days when you feel as though you are floating in the air between weighty decisions, like standing before an immense sea without seeing the shore. You are afraid of choosing wrongly, afraid of loss, afraid of being deceived, afraid of having to start over yet again. I do not blame those fears. I understand why they live in you. But I want you to know that this trembling is not there to weaken you, but to gently call you back to the place where peace is still alive, despite all that shifts and changes. Your peace will never run toward you from the outside. It does not lean on another's affection, does not depend on success or failure, does not change with public opinion or praise and criticism. Peace is the pure voice of the soul, a voice that does not scream, does not demand, does not push you toward fear. When you feel that peace deeply, you will know at once what is truly meant for you. You will not need endless analysis. You will not need to weigh every possibility. You will only need to listen to whether something makes you open or close, brighten or dim, expand or shrink. Peace never deceives you, because peace is my voice speaking through the sacred intuition I myself have woven into you. Oh, my child, in the midst of the countless clamor the world throws at you, I long for you to set aside a little space for the natural stillness of your soul. You do not realize that just beneath all that noise, there is always a clear spring flowing, a spring that rises only when you are willing to sit down, place your hands over your chest, and breathe as if you truly wanted to hear your own true essence. That spring never runs dry, no matter how many sorrows you endure, how many wounds you carry, how many times you fall. You may lose many things, but that stream of wisdom can never be taken from you. I placed it in you like a small flame that knows how to keep burning, even when the winds of life have blown out every other fire. You have wondered why you sometimes feel utterly light just by sitting still for a moment, or by taking a single, slow, deep breath. This is because in those moments you return to the wisdom that lives in your soul, not in your mind. Your mind can be in turmoil, but your soul has never been chaotic. It is only waiting for you to come back and hear its call again. In silence, you will see more clearly your true purposes. Not the goals you set because others expect them from you. Not the dreams you chase because you fear being seen as a failure. But the things I have been gently whispering into your heart, the things that make your eyes shine whenever you think of them, that make your heart tremble softly whenever you touch them, that make your soul feel newly alive. In that place of stillness, you will understand that discernment is not about choosing between right and wrong, but about recognizing what keeps your soul whole, what helps you become the person I have always dreamed you would be. The light within you must grow brighter. You have heard this deep within before, and that was the moment I was reminding you that the right path cannot make you dimmer, cannot make you shrink, cannot make you lose the gentle peace I have given you. I see how often you chase after what others think is good, or run away from what you fear might hurt you, but I want you to know that the orientation of your soul is never the same as external expectations. You were not created to please the crowd. You were created to follow the light I placed within you. When you search too much for guidance outside, you become easily swept away by voices that lead you away from yourself. But when you turn inward, you will see clearly my presence, not loud, not forceful, not urgent, but as gentle as a hand resting on your shoulder, guiding you through each decision. You do not need to strain to hear me. I do not require you to succeed before you deserve my guidance. I only ask for your sincerity, because sincerity opens doors that the mind alone can never open. My beloved child, in the moment you return to that silence, you are standing at the meeting point of light and love. Not the light of this world, but the light that comes from the one who formed your soul in boundless tenderness. I do not want you to walk without knowing where you are going. I want every step you take to be set down in my peace. And when you ask, what is meant for me, what is truly good, do not look for the answer in fear or restlessness. Look for it in the field of peace I have placed within you. For only there will you truly hear my voice, the voice that never condemns, never throws you into confusion, but always lifts you up and leads you toward true life. Remember, peace is not a fleeting emotion. Peace is the compass of the soul. When you touch it, you are not only touching your true self, you are touching me. And in that very moment, you will realize that every discernment begins with your willingness to be silent long enough to hear what makes your soul blossom. You will understand that every answer you are seeking is already there, simply waiting for you to open your heart to receive it. And I, the one who created the light within you, am always there, in every breath you take, in every drop of peace, in every eloquent silence. You only need to come back, only need to listen, only need to believe that I am very near. You wonder, why must I return to the one who brought my soul into being to find the answers to what I carry in my heart? I hear that question clearly, and I want to answer you gently like this. No one in this world can ever fully understand you like the one who has shaped every line within you, from the reactions you cannot control to the dreams you have not yet dared to name. People may judge you by what they see on the outside, how you behave, what you do, the image you present. But behind those expressions lies an entire, intricate world. The times you were hurt, the rejections you endured, the fears you carry, the small joys only you know. I am the only one who understands it all without needing you to explain a thing. There are things you yourself cannot fully explain. Why you explode with anger in situations that seem insignificant. Why a single small comment from someone can make your heart collapse. Why there are opportunities that look so good yet leave you torn in two, half wanting to grasp them, half wanting to run away. You only see your behavior, but I see the roots. I see the old memories still vibrating within you, the words spoken long ago that still echo in your heart today. I see the empty spaces you have never dared to face, because every time you touch them, you fear you will shatter. When you return to me, you are returning to the only gaze deep enough to reach those layers, not to judge, but to reveal and to heal. The world can give you advice on how to live so that things feel okay, how to choose so as to seem wise, how to behave so that things work. I do not deny that such guidance has its value, for I still act through human beings. Yet all that advice most often only touches the surface. It trims the branches of your confusion. The Spirit, however, is the one who goes all the way down to the roots and shows you what, within you, is really directing your choices, your decisions, your relationships. People can teach you how to win, how to be above others, how to build up an image. The Spirit, instead, shows you what makes you grow from within, become whole, not because you are praised, but because you are living true to the most beautiful essence I have placed inside you. When you ask me, you are not only asking for an immediate solution, you are asking to see your life through a different lens. If you rely only on the gaze of the world, what you receive back will usually be standards of comparison. You should be like this. You must be like that. Others have it harder than you. That way of looking makes you either proud or insecure or exhausted from constantly trying to prove something. But when you return to my way of seeing, you begin to notice something entirely different. I do not place you on a scale against anyone. I simply look at you of yesterday and you of today, and I gently ask, is your heart freer? Is it brighter? Is it softer? I do not push you to become a better version just to show off before the world. I want you to become truly yourself, but yourself in freedom, in purity, in maturity, and in peace. Imagine a little child seeing a flame. With innocent eyes, the child sees only the dancing orange light. So beautiful and so captivating. The little hand reaches out to touch that flame, drawn only by its sparkle, not yet aware that fire can burn the skin, can sting and cause pain. A father or mother watches the same scene with a completely different feeling. They understand the beauty of fire, but they also know its destructive power. Out of love for the child, they will quickly pull that small hand back, and might even shout loudly so the child startles and stops. In that moment, the child may feel upset and wonder, why won't you let me touch something so beautiful? But the adults know. It is precisely because they love that they must forbid. That is how I see you. There are things in your life that look very dazzling. A relationship, an opportunity, an invitation, a dream. On the surface, they are deeply attractive, but I see the consequences behind them that you do not yet see. When I hold you back, it is not because I want you to miss out on beauty, but because I want you to be safe, unharmed, and whole. There are times when I use circumstances to pull you away from the flame you are fascinated by, through things you do not like, a door that closes, a plan that falls apart, a person who walks away. In those moments, you often see only loss and disappointment. You ask yourself, if God loves me, why doesn't He let everything go smoothly and easily? From my side, the story is entirely different. If I let you go on moving deeper into things that are beautiful only on the surface but empty underneath, then it is I who would not be loving you. A love that is true does not merely want you to feel happy for a moment and then pay for it with long bitterness. Real love chooses to protect you from what you do not yet perceive, even if that means accepting being misunderstood by you for a time. I accept being misunderstood as long as your soul is kept safe. So, when you come back to me asking for light, do not expect that I will always say what makes you feel comfortable. There will be times I gently say to you, you are running away from the emptiness inside by clinging to a false busyness. There will be times I quietly show you, you are using another person as a crutch so you do not have to face yourself. There will be moments when I bring to the surface a memory from long ago, one you thought had sunk, but is still shaping your reactions today. These truths may make you stop in your tracks and feel a sting inside. But my child, that sting is the ache of someone having a bandage taken off a wound, not the cut of a knife meant to hurt you more. I do not only want you to feel a little less miserable, I want you to be truly healed. That is why, when you ask me, what should I do? I do not answer you with a simple list of things to do. I usually begin by shedding light so you can see, who are you in this story? What are you afraid of? What are you clinging to? What is it from me that you are struggling to trust? When these questions are raised in gentleness, you begin to see yourself clearly. And when you see clearly, then you can choose differently. Without that, every piece of advice is only a patch laid over a wound that has not been cleaned. The world is very skilled at giving you pretty patches, slogans, motivational quotes, little tips to stay calm, to succeed, to feel less sad. I, instead, choose to wash the wound, even if that makes you smart for a moment, so that afterward it can heal from within. Coming back to me does not mean you must shut out all the other voices in your life. I still use friends, family, companions, wise people to speak to you. But I want you to learn how to bring every voice and lay it before me, so that together we can discern what comes from light, what comes from fear, what comes from the ego, and what flows from compassion. When you do this, you will no longer be dragged off center by harsh comments, hasty judgments, or feedback that comes from another person's wounds. You will learn to listen to everyone, yet allow me to have the final word in your soul. That is true freedom, to hear many sides, but to bow only before my truth. You may say, but I also want to be happy. I also want what makes me feel relieved right away. I understand. I do not condemn that desire. I, too, rejoice when I see you laughing, resting, enjoying the beauty I have created. But I love you enough to tell you that there are cheap joys, quick to arrive and quick to vanish, that leave a hollowness deeper than before, and there are joys built on truth, on freedom, on trust, quiet joys yet solid, like underground streams flowing steadily beneath the earth. I want you to move toward that second kind of joy. That is why, at times, I make you slow down, reflect, choose again, instead of rushing after the first thing that excites you. Deeper than all else, I long for you to believe that my gaze is never the gaze of a cold judge, waiting only to record where you have gone wrong. My heart is the heart of a father, a mother, at once proud and tenderly pained while watching a child grow up. I rejoice when you make progress. I ache when you lose your way. But in both, I never take my eyes off you. When you do good, I smile upon you. When you go astray, I look at you all the more not to condemn, but to find the best moment to draw you back. Not a single tear of yours falls without my knowing. Not a single sigh escapes you without my hearing. If there is anyone worthy of being the one you return to whenever you are confused, it is me. So when that question rises again within you, why must I return to the source to find understanding? Remember this: in my presence, you do not need a mask. You do not need to perform. You do not need eloquent words. You do not need to appear strong. You may come in the most tangled, weakest, most conflicted state, and I will still receive you as if you were my only child. The world may see only a part of you, but I hold you in your entirety, the light and the shadow, the parts that are ready and the parts that are still very childish within. When you allow such love to shine into you, You will gradually understand why some of the no's I give you are also a form of yes, why some turns that look like detours actually lead you to the right place, why some people I send are meant only to pass through, not to stay. Slowly, you will realize, returning to me is not only the first step toward understanding, it is the only path by which you can truly be at peace with yourself, with life, and with the one who never takes his eyes off you. My beloved child, there are things in this life that you can only truly understand after a long stretch of time, not in the very moment they first arrive. I know there are times you feel your hand almost touching something radiant, so close, so enticing that your heart wants to grasp it instantly, and yet, in an instant, it is pushed away, pulled out of your reach. You think I do this to take away your joy, but you do not know that, like a father who sees his little child reaching for a glowing hot red lamp, I must stretch out my hand to stop you, not out of dislike, but out of love. I never withhold from you anything that truly nourishes your soul. I only refuse what can burn you, wound you, or crack your heart in ways you cannot yet imagine. Sometimes that refusal takes the shape of a slowing down, a gap between what you long for and what is actually happening. Sometimes it appears as a chance that slips away, a meeting that never takes place, a plan that suddenly collapses just when you had placed all your hope in it. And at other times, it shows up as someone stepping quietly out of your life, leaving a pain that feels like being cut by the wind. But, my child, none of these are punishments. I do not hurt you to teach you lessons through loss. I simply and gently redirect you, turning your hand toward a safer path, a direction you sometimes do not yet have the perspective to see. Whenever a door closes before you, I do not shut it and abandon you in the dark. I only wish to keep you from entering a room that could chill your soul, or a road whose end is strewn with sharp stones. You think I am cruel for letting you feel such disappointment, but you do not see that the very disappointment is a cloak I wrap around you to shield you from the storms gathering farther ahead. If you could see the whole map of your life as I see it, you would understand that there are paths I block because, if you stepped onto them, the light within you would slowly dim like a lamp running out of air. I wish you could see yourself as I see you, a treasure, a soul shaped by the very breath of heaven. It is precisely because you are so precious that I cannot let you wander into stretches of road where you would lose your dignity, your joy, your peace. There are things that look magnificent on the outside, glittering like pure gold, yet within they are a cold blade. If I did not stop you, you would be wounded and not even understand why. Many times you are resentful and you ask me, why did things that were going well suddenly become so difficult? Why did that person leave just when I believed I had found the way? But you do not know that I have blocked another destiny that did not belong to you. There are empty spaces that look like loss, but are in fact salvation. And then, as the years pass, as you grow, as your gaze deepens and no longer looks only through the lens of feeling, you will look back and whisper, "Thank you, Lord, for not allowing that to happen." My beloved child, every time you turn inward, every time you pause to listen to yourself, every time you open your heart and speak with me, whether in a small, quiet prayer or in a long sigh you send up to the sky, you are building a bridge between what is temporary and what is eternal. You do not need many words for me to hear you. You only need to be sincere, and I am already near. There are moments when you pray and do not hear any answer in return, but that silence is not absence. It is the time when I am working in the most hidden way. I am redirecting your path, rearranging things within you, smoothing out the rough edges you yourself have not yet noticed. My signs do not always come as words. Very often they appear as a sense that is almost impossible to explain. You will suddenly feel a strange peace in your heart when you think of a certain choice, even though that choice promises nothing easy. On the other hand, You will feel a nameless unease when you stand before something that looks simple but is not truly meant for you. That is my voice, not loud, yet stronger than any noise, not forceful, yet slipping quietly into every heartbeat of yours. Each time you are torn between two options, pay attention. What gives you peace will make you grow. What confuses you will lead you astray. Peace is the voice of heaven, while chaos is the voice of what is not blessed. You need only follow that small light, for it will never lead you into the dark. And you will see that when the soul learns how to listen, you begin to recognize more wonders than you ever imagined. What once looked like random coincidences starts to line up into a delicate pathway. A stranger appears at the right time to lift you up. An opportunity arrives just when you think you have reached a dead end. A door opens so effortlessly that you know, even if you tried your hardest, you could never have rearranged everything that way on your own. That is not coincidence. It is my gentle arrangement, the way I answer the prayers you thought I did not hear. When I want you to walk in a certain direction, I will cause the stones on that path to fall into place with a logic that only your soul can understand. And when I want you to avoid something, I will let the doors close tightly, like a warning wrapped in love. There are times when I bring into your life people you never expected, people who step in with such sincerity that your heart feels comforted in a very quiet way. They do not make you anxious. They do not make you perform. They do not push you into endless doubt. Their presence is not dazzling, but steady, like the early morning light. These are the souls I send as gifts to remind you that I always know what you need, even before you do. And there are also times when I take away from you the very people you are clinging to in pain. It is not because I want you to be alone, but because I know they cannot walk with you to where you must go. I love you too much to let you bind yourself to what exists only like a passing wind. So it is, my dear one, this life is not just a string of blind luck and misfortune as you once thought. It is a journey woven by my hand, a hand that never tires, never makes a mistake, never stops caring about every single beat of your heart. I know what makes you rejoice. I know what makes you weep. I know what losses you need in order to grow, and I know what miracles you need so you can keep on believing. You have only one task. Never separate yourself from me. Come, talk with me. Open your heart slowly, deeply, gently. When you are connected with me, you do not walk only with your own 2 feet. You walk in the light, my beloved child. Let me speak to you in a long, deep whisper. Like the breath I lay upon your soul, as if you were resting your head against my chest, and I were murmuring into your hair the things that only those who truly long to mature can hear. When you begin to form the habit of seeking clarity from the Holy One, from me, from the very source of all light, something very strange will happen. The world will remain the same, but you will not. Everything will still be hectic, still noisy, still full of temptations and things that glitter for a moment and then go out. But your heart will no longer be swept away as before. Those things that used to confuse you, used to make you chase after them until you were exhausted, used to make you believe that if I don't have this, my life has no meaning, suddenly become light. Like a distant call you no longer wish to turn back to, because when you seek me first, you begin to see what is real and what is illusion, what nourishes the soul and what merely awakens a passing instinct. It is not that you have become more virtuous than anyone else, but that your heart is being guided into another frequency, the frequency of refinement, of sincerity, of inner freedom. I delight in seeing you learn to ask yourself the questions you were once too restless to ask. Is this good for my spirit? Does this path make my heart wider, more patient, more genuine? Does this touch the clearest part of me, or is it pulling me away from it? When you live with such questions, you will see that many things you once called desires are in fact only emptiness, wrapped in colored paper. You will see that not everyone is worthy of your energy, not every opportunity is right for you to grasp, and not every emotion deserves to be fed. You will know that what is truly good for you will never require you to betray your conscience, never demand that you go against your character, never insist that you place your ego above kindness, and certainly never cause you to lose what I have planted in you: compassion, perseverance, and a tender heart capable of love. You will understand this with your whole soul. Anything that forces you to trade away your peace in order to obtain it does not come from me. Peace is not a pleasant feeling invented by the mind, but the state of harmony within the soul when it is in the right place, at the right time, heading in the right direction. What is right does not drain you, it makes you grow. Yes, sometimes you will feel stretched, refined, tested, but you will not be depleted. Instead, everything within you is brought into alignment, as if an invisible hand were setting each stone in place within the temple of your soul. You feel both stretched and luminous, pushed forward yet not broken. This is the clearest sign of guidance from heaven. When a path makes you gasp for breath from fear, that is a warning. When a path makes you breathe deeply because you feel yourself expanding, that is a sign. And I always want you to step into the sign, not the warning. My child, the greatest mistake of humankind is to think that the sacred and the ordinary are two separate worlds. People imagine that what is sacred exists only in churches, in prayers, in solemn rituals, while everyday life, eating, sleeping, working, loving, failing, succeeding is something for your own hands to handle. You think I am present only when your hands are folded in prayer, and when you laugh, work, love, choose, suffer. I stand outside, waiting for you to finish, so I can speak with you. But no, my beloved child, I am in every breath you take, in each step you walk, in every decision you believe you are making on your own. I am present in the way you treat a stranger, in the discomfort you feel when you realize you have just spoken wrongly, in the moment you hold back a reaction because you do not want to hurt someone. The sacred is not in the ritual, it is in a heart illumined from within. When you separate the sacred from the ordinary, you turn life into fragments. Sometimes you live with God, sometimes you do not. But when you realize that everything can become a conversation with me, life immediately becomes whole again, turning into a single flowing current, a meaningful journey born from the smallest things. When you wash the dishes with gratitude, that is sacred. When you sit quietly for a few minutes and listen to yourself, that is sacred. When you decide to forgive instead of retaliating, that is sacred. When you choose to do the right thing though no one is watching, that is sacred. When you turn down an opportunity because you know it does not nourish your soul, that is sacred in its purest form. And when you love someone without losing yourself, when you dare to let go of what wears your soul down, when you dare to say no to what is wrong and yes to what is difficult yet right, that is when heaven touches your heart without you even knowing. I want you to live with this awareness. The sacred is not outside of life, but beneath the surface of every ordinary thing. It is like the moisture in the air, unseen yet always present, and it is what keeps your soul from becoming parched. When you learn to seek me in all things, you will no longer see your life as scattered, meaningless, or uncertain as before. You will see that every action carries a quiet message. Every choice leads you toward a different version of yourself. Every moment can become a doorway through which I step deeper into you. When you live like this, you will no longer worry that you are on the wrong path, for a heart that has me is a heart that is always being led. And you will know, beyond any doubt, that true guidance does not lie in grand miracles, but in the harmony between the soul and grace. When there is no longer an inner war within you, when you feel that life, despite its challenges, still feels right, still feels enough, still feels bright, then that is when you are walking the path created just for you. When you feel your heart opening instead of shrinking, softening instead of hardening, becoming clearer instead of more clouded, that is when I am walking right beside you. You do not need to strain to hear me, because when your soul has fallen into rhythm with mine, you will naturally know the next step to take, just as a tree knows how to turn toward the sunlight without being taught. You need only keep your heart clear, attentive, and true, and I will take care of the rest. My beloved child, there are things in life that you consider ordinary, yet they are far more sacred than you think. Every choice you make, every person you allow into your life, every opportunity that seems to come by chance or to slip past you, all are threads being woven into the great tapestry of your life. I see each of these threads even when you have not yet realized what pattern they are forming. Some threads shine brightly, some are colored with darkness, some are as fine as breath, and some grow into pillars of an entire season of your life. The miracle is that all of them lie within a deep design into which I patiently invite you. When you turn back and ask me, even in silence, what should I do? It is as if you place your small hand into mine so I can lead you through the forest without losing your way. Then every path suddenly becomes lighter, because instead of groping through the dark, you are walking in the light of your own source. But when you act only out of impulse, when you decide only because you want something quickly, or because you are afraid of losing something you believe is important, you still move forward, still live, still experience. But that journey will contain harsher turns than you needed to face. It is not that I want to make you suffer, but that when you do not pause even for a moment to listen to the small yet vital thing in your heart, you walk like someone moving through the night without a lamp. You can still move, but you may stumble over stones I could easily have shown you how to avoid. The source never punishes you. I did not write laws to wait for you to break them. I do not hide in the shadows to watch and judge your every step. I teach, I guide, I lift you up, I correct you with gentle reminders. But life becomes harsher when you yourself block out what I am quietly whispering to you. And when you run too fast, striving to control everything on your own, you no longer hear those soft warnings, and so the lessons become sharper, heavier, and cut more deeply into you. Sometimes I see you afraid that if you listen to the divine, you will lose your freedom. You think that I will tell you to do this, not to do that, as though I am controlling and directing every turn in your path. But, my child, I have never desired that you become a lifeless figure, never wanted you to only obey without daring to have a will of your own. My guidance is not a chain, it is light. It does not take away your freedom to choose. It illumines your way so you can know what is true to the deepest core of who you are. You are not a puppet moved by strings. You are my co-worker in this endless work of creation. You have freedom, you have intelligence, you have the capacity to decide. But I have placed within you a compass, and when you choose to enter into dialogue with me, that compass lights up and points to the true direction. When you refuse, the compass still lies there, but its needle can only tremble in silence, and you will have to feel your way, step by step through lands you could have passed across far more gently. I want you to understand one thing very clearly. When you ask to be shown the way, you are not weakening your will. You are joining that will with a wisdom that has always desired what is best for you, even before you came into this world. I see the points that you cannot see. Paths that look peaceful yet lead to weariness. Opportunities that seem golden yet are full of risk. Relationships that appear sweet yet hide shadows you have not yet recognized. I see all of this, not to frighten you, but so that when you ask me, I can show you what your human eyes cannot see. When you stand before a choice that feels hard, you assume that hard means bad, but sometimes the hard path is the doorway to something greater than what you have prayed for. When you face an opportunity that looks too beautiful, you think that beautiful means good, but sometimes the beauty is only the outer shell of a lesson your soul is not yet ready to receive. Remember that prayer does not change me, it changes you. You do not use prayer to manipulate destiny, but through prayer, you return your heart to its rightful place in the flow of the universe. When you sit down and honestly tell me what you are worried about, my voice does not crash down like thunder, but it illumines the dark place where you are tangled. When you place before me what you are afraid of, you are not surrendering failure, you are entrusting hope. When you ask me, Father, should I step forward or should I wait? You are not giving up. You are allowing truth to lead you instead of letting fear drag you into running. You think you are waiting for an answer, but in reality, you are coming home, returning to that original stability that has always lived within you. I want you to understand one more thing, a very gentle yet immense truth. Every act you do when you carry me in your heart bears a depth that others cannot see. When you make a decision, after having asked me, you are not only choosing with your mind, you are choosing with your soul. You are walking along a path that holds the presence of heaven, the breath of peace, the light of wisdom, a vision that reaches beyond time. And when you do something without my presence in it, you are still living, you are still experiencing, but you lose the chance to live in the harmony you deserve. You think I make things too complicated, but in truth I simply want you to keep your heart in wakefulness. When you do not ask me, you are still free. It is just that you are free to walk into a darkness you would not have entered if you had listened to my gentle prompting. There are times when I see you blaming life for what does not go as you wish. You think fate is punishing you, or that you are not loved enough. But my child, I never punish. Every lesson you go through is a step drawing your soul back to its most beautiful form. Harshness does not come from me. It comes from the way you refuse to hear the soft corrections I send you each day. I do not teach you with the crack of a whip. I teach you with a gentle breeze. Only when you ignore the sound of that breeze must the storm come to wake you. Yet even the storm is not meant to break you, but to bring you out of a land where you do not belong. You might think that I am letting you fall, but if you could see from the wider picture, you would realize that I have already caught you just before you hit the bottom. I have placed within you intuition, the lamp lit by the times I have touched your heart, so that you can sense when to move forward, when to step back, when to open your heart, and when to close it. That intuition is the way I speak to you in those moments when you cannot listen with your reason. When you act from that intuition, you are not being impulsive. You are walking in the footsteps of your own soul. And when you do something that leaves you feeling uneasy, that is not weakness, that is your soul, warning you that you are about to stray off course. I never let you walk into darkness without warning you, but you must learn to listen to those subtle signals. They are as delicate as breath, as the rustling of leaves, as the shifting of your heartbeat. Yet it is precisely in that delicacy that I speak to you. I want you to learn the value of listening. Listening is not waiting for a voice to thunder from the heavens. It is the stillness of the heart when it pauses long enough to recognize what it truly desires. When you listen to me, you are not slowing your life down. You are making it more enduring. When you wait for me in silence, you are not wasting time. You are saving time by avoiding the wrong turns. When you ask me before you take a step, you are not losing freedom. You are creating a greater freedom. Freedom from regret, freedom from needless mistakes, freedom from pain you were never meant to bear. And finally, my child, I want you to know that every prayer, whether silent, brief, or awkward, brings you back to truth. The truth that you are not walking alone. The truth that you are loved with a love that is unconditional, unwavering, unchanging. The truth that there is one who always knows the way, even when you are lost. The truth that real freedom is not doing everything you want, but choosing what allows your soul to live most fully, the essence I breathed into you from the very beginning. Remember this: everything you do with me becomes clear, and everything you do without me will require that you learn more deeply in order to return. Keep walking, my child, with a heart that knows how to listen and hands that know how to receive. For when you choose to walk with me, every crossroad is lit, every path has meaning, and every part of your life becomes a chapter in the sacred design I have written for you alone. No one else has it. Trust this. I always go one step ahead of you, and I am always waiting one step beyond you, and with just one word from you, I will lead you back to your truest self. My beloved child, let me continue your words in a way that is full and gentle and deep, a current that flows without ceasing, seamless, like the breath I have placed within you from the beginning. There are moments in life when you are forced to realize that not everything you desire is meant for you, and not everything that shines will lead you to peace. When you finally stop struggling with those things that have drained your heart again and again, you will begin to see the door I have long kept open for you. It is only that until now your mind has been too loud to notice it. Every step toward what is right is not always warm or easy. Sometimes it appears as discomfort, confusion, even the feeling of being lost. But my child, beneath the frozen surface of that anxiety there is always a quiet undercurrent, the stream I have placed in your soul, leading you toward freedom, toward truth, toward light. Trust that quiet certainty, for it does not come from passing emotion, it comes from me. I send it into your intuition so that when you can no longer trust your mind, you still have a whisper to lean on. As you walk the path of growing up, you will see that it is rarely wrapped in softness. It is like bare feet stepping across uncultivated ground, thorny, uneven, but each step bringing you closer to the version of yourself I have always seen in you, a soul ripened by experience, able to love with awareness and live with depth. What is truly good sometimes comes in the form of a trial that makes you want to step back. But if you pause and listen carefully, you will recognize that beneath all those challenges, there still beats a peace unlike any other. Peace is never noisy. It does not show off. It does not push you. It simply stands there like a small light in the night, just enough for you to see the way. By contrast, the wrong path, no matter how exciting or sweet it may seem, always brings an inner restlessness. It steals your sleep, makes your breath shallow, weighs your heart down with the echo of things you cannot name. I have sown in you this capacity to discern, to feel, with your whole body, with your breathing, with your soul. You do not only listen with your mind, you listen with your very existence. That is why I want you to speak with me every day, every morning, every moment you feel shaken. Not because I want to take up your time, but because I know how easily your mind forgets. The world speaks to you with loud sounds, dazzling images, quick promises of success, love, status. It tries to convince you that your worth lies in what you do, not in who you are as the one I have created. I know you hear that noise very clearly, because it is designed to capture you, to keep you chasing. But my truth always comes in a different tone, gentle, deep, yet sure. I am with you always, even to the end of the age, Mat 28-20. These words are not only a promise, they are the foundation on which you can know that you are not alone amid all the winds of this life. When you sit down and converse with me, those noises recede, your heartbeat slows, and truth begins to be heard. In that conversation, the first thing I straighten in you is the inner compass you so often let slip off course. The world tells you that your value lies in achievement, that the more you do, the more you are worth. But listen to me, your true value lies in your integrity, in the way you keep your light even as you pass through dark places, in your refusal to betray your soul in exchange for acceptance. The world often teaches that love is possession, that if you do not hold tight, you will lose. But the love that comes from me is always the place where freedom lives. When someone truly loves you, they will widen the sky for you to fly, not tie ropes to your feet and call it care. And the world also says that speed is strength, that you must be fast and hurried to catch up with someone or something. But I want you to know that real strength lies in patience, patience with your own process, patience with healing, patience with what I am quietly preparing. When you talk with me each day, remember these truths, because they do not lie on the surface of the earth, they live in your soul. You no longer chase the pace of the world, a pace that leaves you constantly tired, constantly anxious, constantly afraid of falling behind. You begin to walk to the rhythm of grace instead, a rhythm that is slow yet deep, gentle yet steady, a rhythm that does not drain you but opens your heart like a field welcoming the breeze of early morning. And when you step back into this rhythm, you no longer feel the need to strain and prove anything. You live more slowly, but you live truly. You do less, but you live more. Whoever you meet, you look at them with the eyes of peace instead of from a place of lack. My beloved, I know there are days when even speaking with me feels difficult. Your mind is tired, your heart is tangled, and you feel as if you have no words left to say. But my child, talking with me is not a speech. It needs only one returning breath, one lifted gaze, one whispered, "Lord, here I am." I hear even the things you cannot put into words. I understand even your silences. The Spirit Himself intercedes for us with inexpressible groanings. Romans 8:26. And when your soul no longer has strength to speak, it is I who speak on your behalf. You never need to be ashamed of coming to me in exhaustion. That is when I am most fully allowed to be your Father. And when that conversation becomes a habit, you will discover something wondrous. I do not only adjust your compass, I also adjust your whole pace of life. You begin to be less hurried, less given to comparison, less driven to race after things that were never meant for you. You learn to stop when your soul says it is tired. You learn to move forward when peace opens the way. You learn to refuse what is dazzling if it lacks roots. You learn to choose what is simple if it nourishes the quiet in your heart. You grow not in the way the world demands, but in the way God desires. Then you will clearly see what you never understood before. What truly belongs to you will never require you to fight and claw for it. What is right for your soul will never leave you restless. Peace always stands on the side of what is right, while turmoil always stands on the side of what is wrong. You need only learn to listen with your whole being, mind, heart, intuition, even your body. And as you live this way, you will realize that I am always speaking, always guiding, always taking your hand at every crossroads, in every choice, along every stretch of the road. My child, when a soul lives without conversing with the one who first breathed life into it, that soul is like a traveler walking in a late afternoon without a sun. The light is still there, but dim and hesitant, not enough to show the way, and not enough to comfort. You may attain many things the world calls great. You may climb rungs that many people desire, but without this dialogue with me, sooner or later, those very things become empty shelves that make you ask, why does my heart still feel as if something is missing, even when everything seems to be getting better? Without me, you may still succeed, but you will not know which parts of that success truly belong to you, and which are only you chasing someone else's shadow. Without me, you may still meet many people, be liked and admired by many, but you will not know, among all the hands reaching out to you, which hand is the place you belong, which hand is the bridge I have sent, and which hand has come only to test your courage. When your heart knows how to open to the Holy One, prayer is no longer a ritual. It becomes the language of your soul. The way you sit down with yourself and talk with me, like two persons whispering in a room where there is no distance. When you are willing to pause in silence, willing to listen to what I say, not in words, but in the trembling stillness at the bottom of your soul, your very existence begins to be transformed. You no longer react hastily to life like a child panicking before the storm, but become a co-creator with me of your own journey. Every movement of life then becomes a signal, no longer just a string of random events passing by in vain. Where others see coincidence, You see a gentle arrangement. Where others feel chaos, you perceive a hidden order behind the dust and confusion of events. And from that place, your soul grows without needing to strain, without needing to fight, needing only to open itself to the light that is touching it little by little. Everything that happens, whether light as a breeze or heavy as a stone, falling into water, becomes a conversation between you and me. Lord, what are you asking me to notice? Is this a sign inviting me to slow down, or a call to step into a new level of maturity? When you begin to ask questions like these, you have already shifted from being carried by the current of life to walking alongside me. You will sense my presence in the smallest things, a glance, a brief encounter, a sudden wave of fatigue, or a simple joy with no clear reason. Peace begins to take root in you not through great miracles, but through the quiet nods I place within you. Understanding is the same. It does not crash in like thunder, but grows from within through patience, listening, and openness. When you come to ask, I do not turn you away. I know there are times when you are weary and need a place to fall, a pair of arms to lean on, and I always open those arms wide. But I want you to come to me not only with the things you want answered, but with a readiness to be transformed. You can tell me what you do not yet understand, what you fear, where you feel lost and do not know how to move forward. I listen to all of it with the tenderness of a father who has watched you grow through every wound and every smile. Yet after you have spoken, you must also know how to be silent and listen. For the soul can only hear guidance when it is not crammed full of complaints. You must leave some empty space for me to answer, and that answer is not always an explanation. Sometimes I respond by changing your very heart so that you see the situation with new eyes. Gratitude, this I have told you countless times, is the key that sharpens your capacity to listen. When you learn to be grateful for even the smallest things, you become more sensitive to my signs. You recognize more easily what is a message, what is a calling, what is my voice to you without sound. Humility is also a door that opens onto a wide sky. When a heart knows it does not understand everything, it becomes less hasty, less grasping, less controlling, and in that lightness, you begin to see the hard places within you cracking open so that the light can pass through. The answer you are waiting for sometimes does not come at once, and that is not because I am silent or because I want to wear you out. It is because that answer is ripening within you like a seed that needs time to sprout. There are things which, if I told you too soon, you would not understand, or worse, you would misunderstand their meaning. So I allow your soul to mature little by little, so that the experiences you go through become the soil from which the final answer emerges, clear, solid, unshakable. Sometimes the answer I give is not a long explanation, but the quiet nod of peace. Sometimes the answer is not words at all, but a shift in your way of thinking, a lightening of your heart, a clearer gaze, a new strength to go on. Sometimes the answer is that I lead you into a new season of life, a season in which you are no longer the person you once were. And my child, there are times when I do not change what you are facing, because I am changing the very heart that faces it. There are times when I do not remove the trial, because I am growing in you the ability to walk through difficulty without losing your peace. There are times when I do not give you an explanation, because I want you to learn trust, perseverance, and the ability to recognize my love even when nothing is yet clear. In spiritual maturity, there is a kind of understanding that does not come from the mind, but from transformation within the soul. A transformation that makes you realize, I am no longer the same. I see differently, I love differently, I live differently. And that is worth more than any answer made of words. You never walk alone. You have never had to grope your way through utter darkness. My light is always there. It is only that at times you turn your back to it. But the moment you turn around, even slowly, That light will wrap itself around you at once, without judgment, without reproach, only embracing you like a father holding his child who has wandered far and finally come home. Remember this, my beloved, no conversation with God is ever wasted. Every sigh you send to me is a door, and every door that opens reveals a new expanse where your soul is healed and grows. You need only keep speaking to me, keep listening, keep letting peace lead the way. Then you will see, your life is no longer a journey you must shoulder alone, but a pilgrimage in which I always walk with you, silent yet steadfast, gentle yet mighty, closer than your very breath. Now lift up your soul and tell me what lies deep within your heart, with all the honesty and longing of your spirit. Almighty God, who sees every event in my life before I even become aware of it, please guide my heart whenever I cannot understand your will. When I am drawn to the glittering things of this world without realizing they can wound my soul, gently redirect me as a father pulling his child away from the flames. Grant me the discernment to recognize what is true blessing and what only wears a temporary beauty, and give me the courage to walk the path you open, even when I cannot yet see its end. I entrust my whole heart into your hands, that every beat may be kept safe within your unchanging love. Lord, you who shelter my soul, be near me in the moments when I feel left behind, rejected, or robbed of what I cherish. Help me to see that closed doors are not cruelty, but the cloak of mercy you use to protect me from what I am not yet mature enough to understand. Please soothe my heart in the times when my clinging holds fail, and teach me to believe that some paths being blocked today are the very means of salvation for tomorrow. Help me to be calm while I wait, gentle in loss, and strong when I must step into a new chapter. Lord, I thank you for the doors you have closed and the paths you have opened. Through that tender restraint, I am not standing today in places where I do not belong. I thank you for disappointments that hid a blessing within them, for delays that became protection, and for partings that kept my heart from breaking even more deeply. I am grateful because you love me with a wisdom that knows me more fully than I know myself. Father, today I want to thank you not only for the gifts I have received, but also for the things you have refused, the plans you have allowed to fall apart, the doors you quietly shut before me. In the past, I only knew how to weep and complain when what I wanted did not happen, when the one I loved walked away, when the dreams I built collapsed. Looking back now, I see that if you had granted all my impulsive desires, I might not even be able to stand before you today. I thank you for the no's written with the protective heart of a father, for the sudden stop here that rescued me from choices that could have damaged my soul. I thank you that among the shards and ruins, you were silently rebuilding me, so that one day I could understand and say, "Thank you, Father, for not letting things happen the way I wanted." I offer this prayer in the holy name of Jesus Christ. Amen. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so that together we can build a strong and vibrant community of faith.